Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special occasion to celebrate our friend, Leslie. I'm going to now invite our Cantor Marc Bachrach to lead us through this afternoon's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Merle. Thank you for all the love and attention and care you put into producing and making it possible to do this. Helen, Justin, Slade, the fabric of your lives has been torn by your loss of Leslie. And this afternoon we surround you with the love and the tenderness of these family and friends. They're gathered here sharing their support and their love. Leslie, we come here this afternoon to honor and to bless you, to comfort your children and your husband, first and foremost, and to comfort each other during a time of a great loss and a great grief. The thing about being a parent, it doesn't end. Not with age, not with death. Leslie will always be your mother, and she will always love you. We're all shocked. None of us expected to be here. We all feel it's unfair, tragic, incomprehensible. It's the most difficult kind of loss, because everybody feels they could have and they should have done something, or done more. Guilt is a natural response. Friends, we're here today to honor, to praise, to celebrate Leslie, to offer love and support to Slade, to Helen, to Justin, not to feel guilty. And if some of you are feeling guilty, even slightly, please listen carefully to these next 4 words. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. We are all standing in the face of an unfathomable mystery. And our egos, our minds, our personalities, they need to make understanding out of this mystery. But the truth is, we'll never really know what's gone through a person's mind who succeeded with this. What do we know? We know how to give profound thanks for Leslie's existence and her massive body of good work, how to honor her life this week, the value she held dear by acting on it from this moment forward. All the faith, all the mystical traditions around the world teach us that this is not it. This is not our final destination. Leslie's spirit has a resonance. It has an energy. Her energy is still in existence. And so we call to that energy and unconditionally forgive her and release her and encourage her to unconditionally forgive and release us. And we send Leslie's spirit love and light for her passage. Each of us is a candle. This afternoon we're putting our candles together to create a great light, to make a passageway for Leslie, to shine a light for her, to go forward into the next world. Putting our candles together, shining our spiritual light for Leslie to know that she can and should move forward now in the next world, and that we give profound thanks for her existence in this world. Leslie shed a brilliant light while she was here, and so we shed light for her now by honoring her memory and her beloved family. Thank you to everyone here who shared Leslie with me and for teaching me about her. Slade, Kim, Lizette, Patty, Vashti on the way here from Solvang, Merle, Tanya, so many Facebook posters. Leslie, you wrote very full chapters in your book of life. And we honor you by remembering and celebrating your life, by speaking of your contributions to everybody here and the lessons you offer all of us. Lessons that we gratefully carry forward in our own lives. This is not going to be the only time that people share their memories of you, or talk about you, with you, or to you, or ask themselves, WWWLD, what would Leslie do? because so many people held you in the highest esteem. You were the mother, the daughter, the auntie other people wish they had, but that they could be. Indeed, Francoise Bush, who worked with you on soap operas, wrote, "I love Leslie like the daughter I never had." Linda Rosenfeld Magid wrote, "The world needs more Leslies." It's been easy for me to learn from you that Leslie's life was a massive, awesome gift to you, to her family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, and the countless recipients of her artistry, her professional skills, and her community service. So this afternoon we celebrate Leslie even as we mourn her loss by offering our gratitude for the many gifts that she gave us. Leslie's gifts to the world were many indeed. I couldn't begin. I'd be up here all day. And so if I left one or two of them out, it's on purpose so that maybe you will talk about those later and share, even more importantly, some memories that only you might have that could be gifts to Helen, to Slade, to Justin, and to each other. Here's just a few of Leslie's gifts. She gave the gift of love of her family, her friends. She made you feel deeply loved, that what you did mattered to her, and that she was proud of you. She gave the gift of her loyalty and commitment. She was a true friend through and through. Things that people wrote. She came to every event I hosted, every birthday, supported my kids' entrepreneurial endeavors. Anytime I needed help, I needed assistance, Leslie was there. These are the things I heard over and over again from the people I interviewed and from the stalking of Leslie I did on Facebook. Speaking of that, her badass posts with tarantulas, and of course her love for her many other animals. On a ranch she had zebras, longhorn steer, alpaca, rattlesnakes, rabbits, and of course tarantulas. There was a gift of those beautiful cakes. Those cakes, beautiful, marzipan figurines. Kim Convey referred to her as the Martha Stewart of my friends, the epitome of sophistication, grace, and etiquette. Leslie loved the Bob Baker Marionette Theater, and she helped save it. She restored the Circle K Ranch in Santa Ynez. She revived the Jungle Land posters at Thousand Oaks, that you can see back there. The gift of curiosity, her intelligence, her love of learning. We'll hear more about those soon from Tanya in Jerusalem. Leslie gave the gift of her generosity. She was and is a giver. She gave the gift of her strength and her courage. The gift of her sense of humor. Leslie was funny and she could be hilarious. Leslie calling? Well, that was ministering to the spirit and the needs of others. Leslie's mantra was to serve, to make a difference in the lives of others. She was compassionate, empathic, really empathic, and observant of the struggles of others, yet she was struggling with her own at the same struggles at the same time she was helping others. Leslie gave the gift of clearer speech to people with special needs. She spoke passionately about helping women with postpartum depression, felt deeply about all women's rights. She promoted autism awareness and Down syndrome awareness. She freely offered the gift of her reassurance and encouragement. From Sarah Moore Fitzgerald, I remember vividly her encouragement when I was contemplating returning to work as a substitute teacher. I was doubting myself. Her positivity was so reassuring. It was Leslie who gave me the confidence to make that leap. Something about her smile and the way she said, Sarah, you'd be fantastic. It actually made me believe it. Leslie gave the gift of her directness, blunt, honest, and authentic. According to Kim, her trademark delivery was no bullshit candor. Leslie was a great conversationalist, in large part because her many superpowers included listening, empathic listening. Leslie, I really hope you're using that superpower to its fullest right now. What a wonderful spirit you have. We are all blessed and honored by your examples. I know I speak from the hearts of every single person gathered here and those who couldn't be here when I say to you, may you now receive 10 times the blessings back that you bestowed on others during your lifetime. In this mini prayer that I'd like to offer on behalf of every one of us, insert your favorite word or expression for the Creator and the source of all life, God, Lord, Divine Spirit, whatever connects you to that source. God, teach us to make each day count. Give us a heart filled with wisdom and love, like the heart of Leslie Pruitt. And match our days of sorrow with joy for all the years that we live. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, they will reap in joy. No, it wasn't the Go-Go's. It was written by the first rock star, King David, one of the songs. Sorry. So, Tanya's in Jerusalem, and she wrote to Slade and all of us something really remarkable. And since she can't be here, she's delegated me to read this. And then we'll have 5 more candles shine their light for Leslie. Again, I'm standing in for Tony. Anne, Phil, Helen, Justin, Slade. Shalom. Shalom in Hebrew is not only hell level, but it also means peace. Peace, and coming to terms with Leslie's passing, can only be achieved if we manage to understand the process her choice. But how do we move forward without being defined by certain events? It's challenging, but it's not impossible. As a matter of fact, Leslie's response to the painful and to the unexpected was always learning. Leslie was a deep-sea diver of sorts, a mermaid with a book. She had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Her curiosity got her to tread on many tin roofs. Her adventurous spirit made her discover and share information with her friends and her family. And with that, sometimes, she guided us into transcending the moment and moving past it. Leslie took fragments from the world around her, spirituality, literature, psychology, faith, gastronomy, and incorporated them in the mosaic that was her unique vision. In my own quest for relief, says Tanya, I came upon 2 pieces that illustrate some aspects of Leslie's personality and that I would like to share with you. The first one, taken from Robert Hayden's Middle Passage, describes the dread experienced by slaves on a boat, knowing they will be sold into slavery and choosing not to continue. I believe that similarly, Leslie felt held captive by her demons and sought dignity in death rather than a life in chains. Voyage through death to life upon these shores, 10 April 1800. Blacks rebellious, crew uneasy. Our linguist says their moaning is a prayer for death, ours and their own. Some try to starve themselves. Lost 3 this morning, leaping with crazy laughter to the waking sharks. Sang as they went under, Jesus, Savior, pilot me over life's tempestuous sea. Another, yet diametrically opposed aspect of Leslie's personality was her compassion and her ability to love. She loved her children so much, and their achievements gave her such joy. Leslie loved her parents, Anne and Phil. She loved her husband, Slade, with fierce determination. As a speech and a language pathologist, Leslie came to meet people who she was able to assist and teach. In that she took great pride, and so the image of the great Colossus came to mind. We all know this poem, but I'd like you to close your eyes when I read it and put Leslie's beautiful face on that of Lady Liberties on the Statue of Liberty. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here, at our sea-washed, sunset gates, shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Peep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Leslie, you are greatly missed, but loved greatly. And true love is setting someone free. So we call up our candles that are going to speak. First Heather, then Jerry, Lizette, and finally Vashti. Then Vanessa, and then finally Vashti. Heather, it's okay, it's still your cue. Come on down. It's not TV.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Hi, everybody. Most of you know me, but for those who do not, my name is Heather Bachrach, and Leslie has been a good friend of mine for about 12 years now. Our sons became fast friends in kindergarten and have remained so to this day. Slade, Helen, Justin, thank you so much for sharing Leslie with all of us. We all have wonderful memories that we want to share with you, and today I will share mine. My favorite time with Leslie would have to be on the ranch. Although we did have fun taking the children to countless field trips and children's museums, but on the ranch, she seemed at home. At home with nature and the history of the beautiful surroundings. She would talk about the beautiful wooden hand-carved doors and how she researched and found the artist who made them. Or about the huge lodge, which had a soda machine, but instead of soda, it dispensed hard alcohol. She would walk me down to the llamas with her hair flowing and tell me which ones had the best personalities. Their huge eyes and crooked teeth always seemed to make her smile. Here she seemed at ease and at home. She could do what she did best, research, and dig up nuggets from the past. These nuggets she could have treasured to herself, but no, she shared them. It was fun to hear her stories as she brought others to the ranch to share in its beauty and history. As humans, we search for meaning. We are not perfect. We have flaws, and we can fall prey to illness. As we sit here and try to navigate our loss and sadness and understand this tragedy, we come up short. We often look for something to blame, or even worse, we blame ourselves. I say, let's try not to do that. The only thing to blame is depression. Depression is a biochemical imbalance that robs the ability to feel and see the good and light that is within us and also all around us. I urge us all to remember that this was not caused by a call that we were meaning to make, a few words we were meaning to say, yet never had the chance, a hug we were too hurried to give, a sign that we did not pick up on, or an action that we did not take. This is no one's fault. We are not to blame. Leslie is not to blame. We are human. We have our flaws, but we have our memories, and we will always cherish our memories. Today we are here to remember and celebrate Leslie, a compassionate friend, a devoted mother, a helpful sister, a dedicated daughter, a loyal wife, and a tireless teacher. I'm sure there's many more, but you don't want to hear me all day. Leslie was many things, and due to this, we are all feeling a huge void. I recently had the privilege of sitting together with a bunch of parents and teachers from Bridges to remember Leslie. We sat in a circle, a common practice at the school, and shared our thoughts and memories of Leslie. I was deeply moved by how many people Leslie has touched. There was a common theme at this meeting. People said that Leslie listened. Not the type of listening where you nod your head, but you're thinking about all the things you need to get done that day because you think you already know what the person is going to say. You know the type I'm talking about. We've all done it. I'm talking about the type that involves your heart, where you hear what they are actually saying, where you have empathy. Everyone around the circle said that Leslie had this, that she heard them, actually heard them, without judgment, without being in a rush, without caring what they were wearing, or if we even remembered to brush our hair. Yeah, that's me. They said that she saw what they needed in that moment and filled that void. I heard some people say that she sent them the perfect book, or had the exact parenting tip, or sent them research on vitamins and minerals that would help with their particular situation. So not only did Leslie listen, she heard, she cared, and she took action. Another magical thing happened at this meeting that I wanted to share with you. Thank you, Leslie. You know those voids that Leslie filled? These beautiful people sitting around the circle, they turned to each other and they promised to fill those voids. They knew that our loss is great and they wanted to help just like how Leslie helped them. So thanks to Leslie, we are coming together once again to support and lean on one another, to fill those voids that we all have. Yesterday, Kim and I had the pleasure of meeting Leslie's parents, Anne and Phil. We sat around and talked with them, and I was struck by something that Anne told me. She told me that Leslie made her feel that it was only the two of them, like she was the most important person in the world. And I was struck again about that meeting, how everyone at that meeting around the circle said the same thing. Wow, what a gift. What a beautiful gift, and I feel so lucky and blessed that that gift was also bestowed on me. I want to follow by Leslie's example. So I say, to Slade, to Justin, to Helen, I am here. I am here if you want to laugh about silly things your mom did, because there was a few. I am here if you want to just cry and talk about her with someone who loved her too. She had so many wonderful, fond things. She was proud, Helen, of all your achievements and would talk to me about them like crazy. Justin, she would send me pictures of all the crazy things you were doing, whether it was driving a go-kart where you weren't supposed to be, or creating a track, all kinds of fun things that you were doing. She sent pictures and was very proud. I am not alone. I know everyone here in this room will also support you and has wonderful memories about your mom. So if you guys ever want to reminisce, have a hug, or just talk about Leslie, everyone in this room nod your head if you're willing to be that person for them too. We will all be here. We all love you, and we want to share the love that your mom, your wife, your daughter, your friend shared with us. So we will be here for you. Thank you, Leslie. You are loved, You will be dearly missed. You will never be replaced. You will be cherished, and you will always be remembered. Thank you.
Jerry? You have to wait. As soon as the first one's done, go ahead. Love pots.
There you go. Hey, y'all. I don't know many of you. Know some. I'm sorry. I don't know many of you. I know some of you, and a lot of y'all that I know I love. You know, you're in my heart somewhere special. And Leslie found her way there too. I was looking over my wife's shoulder one day, and there was a picture of Slade and Helen on a motorcycle. I've been a motorcycle addict my whole life. All right, I need to eat the microphone. I was told to eat the frog, but I don't know. Anyway, so I was looking over the shoulder and I saw, the picture of the two, and I thought, holy moly, that's cool. I've been on the motorcycles a long time, and riding them fast is an addiction that we share. And so I reached out and Slade said, well, yeah, come on up, and David, my son or whatever, was just getting his motorcycle license. I told him he had to do 2,000 miles on the road before he can get off on his own. And so we planned to go up there and meet y'all. And Chuck's Leslie just, well, come on in, sit down, Slade's like, spend the night, we were just going to go for lunch, and then David and I were going to ride on. But we did. We spent the night, and y'all made us feel at home, and Leslie especially so. We ate, we talked, we laughed, and walked around and looked at, rode around and looked at things. The whole experience was over the top amazing. And I personally felt really blessed to be there and to be amongst these folks that were smiling at me. And it's life's too dang short, and we've all seen folks go that went too soon. But anyway, Leslie and I would sit there after Slade would go, we'd be done for the night, and Helen would be off with her things and Justin. He disappeared. And she and I would just sit there in the kitchen and solve, life's problems and all the world's problems, and go over a whole bunch of things. And she was a woman that I admire. She was from her heart. There was no BS about her, and I don't like BS a whole lot. And she wasn't. She was just real straight and kind. And what more can you ask out of a friend, out of somebody that you can respect? Dave and I have our things, and she and I would discuss some of those things, and she'd always give me good thoughts and good advice and things to think about. So I don't want to go on and on and on. I just want to say, that I loved her. She was there, and she was real. She listened and welcomed David and I into her home. She invited, the rest of her family to come out, and it was just. It wasn't a long relationship, but that which was there was real, and I'm grateful. And I hope she's filled y'all's hearts like she did ours. And thank you so much. All good things. God bless and be well. Thank you.
Vanessa?
Hi everyone, my name's Vanessa, and I'd like to share with all of you how Leslie became a part of my life and what she means to me. I grew up knowing who my father was, but not why he had left. I had assumed as children abandoned by a parent do that it was because of me. I longed for the approval and love of a father, but to the adults around me, I was a bother and an inconvenience. I had a box that I kept a few scraps of evidence that he even existed. A note he had written to himself, a heart pendant he had made my mother, a small brass plaque for an award he'd won. My mother remarried, and I was the proverbial red-headed stepchild, and a constant reminder of another man and a time before. When I was down, I would fantasize about my father, that one day he'd show up and rescue me. In my dreams, he was always someone tremendously interesting and smart and talented. Maybe he was an artist or a rich world traveler. He would take me away and care about me and show me his life. In the 3rd grade, for a special treat, the teacher showed Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in class. I went home that day with an excited secret in my heart, convinced that my father was Gene Wilder. Although I didn't consciously remember, they both had the same piercing blue eyes and wavy hair. In early adulthood, I searched for him with no luck. Every time I'd travel, because this was the days before the internet, I would look up his name in local phone books. I constantly wondered what and why. Eventually, I gave up and accepted that not all mysteries are solved. Sometimes you never find the answer, and you have to let the mystery be. On April 17, 2007, I received a phone call from out of the blue. Like that cartoon anvil that falls from the sky on an unsuspecting character's head. It was the San Francisco medical examiner, informing me that my father had passed away and left a note to contact me, his only child and relative. Suddenly, I was on my way to lay the person to rest that I'd always longed for, finally meeting him only through objects he'd left behind. He had been living under an alias on a completely different coast and had invented a past for himself. And the close friends he'd had for 30 years knew nothing of his real name or history. I talked to many of them and listened to their devastation over his death and confusion at my sudden appearance, like a ghost that jumped up from the grave. I'll never forget my first conversation with Leslie. She immediately apologized to me, sobbing, sorry that she had gotten everything over the years that I should have gotten from my father. The care, love, and friendship. They had met when she was a teen, an aspiring model and actress, when my father became her agent. They had remained very close over the years, long after the professional relationship ended. He was a mentor and a protector, and even acted as the officiant in Leslie and Slade's wedding ceremony. Next came Helen, who always called my father Uncle Justin. We became very close friends over the years, helping each other through the pain of loss. We'd visit each other in the summer and have long heart-to-heart talks and make plans for the future. We were both terrified to end up alone and made a pact to be crazy old ladies together. Over the years, I became Aunt Vanessa to Justin, and it was magical and healing. He got to know his namesake through me, and even though I didn't know my father, nature is stronger than nurture. Growing up, my mom always said it was a shame he never got to know me, because we were both cut from the same cloth, but only the good parts, she'd say, and Leslie certainly agreed. And Leslie, she was so smart and funny and strong, and I really admired her. Leslie was everything I'd wanted to be as a lonely teen growing up in rural Ohio. She'd been a model and actress and met tons of famous people, and had lived and worked in Paris and Japan. She appeared in print ads and commercials and TV shows. As an adult, she went to school to be a speech pathologist and earned her master's degree, and then became a special education teacher, which she found to be more rewarding than any of her previous successes. And she was so fun too. She was classy, but also proficient at colorful, creative swearing. Always had fun stories and interesting things to talk about, and made me feel like I was the funniest person on the planet. With her big, ringing laugh. She took me to all her favorite places and proudly introduced me to all her favorite people, which made me feel so cool and important. In the summer of 2020, at her suggestion, she, Justin, and I took a week-long road trip to Oregon to visit Earl Newman, the famous poster artist who did the Jungle Land posters. It was the best trip of my life. We had so many adventures that week, the three of us. We ate greasy cheeseburgers and lots of candy. We sang songs like "Up Your Butt with a Coconut, Don't Ask," and every verse of 99 bottles of beer on the wall. We swam and kayaked and fished at Mount Shasta. We annoyed Justin with our embarrassing Mom and Aunt Vanessa antics, and he did his very best to try and annoy us back. As was tradition and all in good fun. Last summer, Justin and Leslie visited me in Cincinnati, and I got to proudly show them my life and all my favorite places. And again, we had so much fun. Leslie kept saying Cincinnati reminded her of Disney, which cracked me up every time, and it became a running joke. She had such a fun and different way of seeing the world. In February, we went to Las Vegas at her suggestion because I'd never been there. It's something you should see at least once, she'd said, and so we did. We made more plans about the future. We talked about mental health and life and purpose. She said, "I feel like your father's here with us," as she always said when we were together. I told her we were supposed to meet, and that was the plan all along, and that the friendship and love for each other was the thing, not his passing. I was given a tremendous gift in Leslie. She drew me close and helped me heal. Became a sister and made me family. She gifted me a niece named Helen, a nephew named Justin, and a brother named Slade, and a room full of kindred spirits. She gave me new friends and ideas and things to see, and I feel so honored to have the opportunity to open my heart to all of you. Again, Leslie, you're making me feel so important and cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Lizette? Wisdom.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Lizette Belmonte. Leslie and I were lifelong friends, my bestie since we were 3 years old. 52 years we weaved in and out of each other's lives, 5 decades of enduring every human emotion together. We began as neighbors in Westlake Village in 1970. Leslie's parents, Ann and Phil, were like second parents to me. Although we were more like yin and yang, Leslie and I, we were so different, but yet similar at the same time. She was always the prettiest girl in the room, and I was the one with the good personality. I was generally up at the crack of dawn, and I quickly learned not to call Leslie before 11 a.m. She loved puppets, puppets freaked me out. But I never told her. I just happened to be busy every time she invited me to the Bob Baker puppet show. Although we both loved marzipan, she made beautiful, decorative, unique little figurines, and I loved to eat them. And as we grew up, Leslie always reminded me that I was responsible for teaching her the F word. I would say, well, you taught me all the rest of the unmentionable words. She was my confidant, my biggest supporter, my BFF for life. At some point during high school, we started using our own form of double talk. It was gibberish speak. We would add the phrase, the, after the first letter of a word, and then between syllables. So we would use this when we wanted our public conversations to be private. For example, if I were to say hi, I would say hugga guy. So in our early teens, we spent so many nights dancing away at Faze's nightclub in San Fernando Valley. And oh my God, totally to the max, we were Valley girls. We loved 80s music, Oingo Boingo, the Go-Go's, Adamant, Sparks. That was our jam. Interestingly enough, we were both attracted to the entertainment industry. She spent years as a print model and a background actress, and I traveled as a comedian. In our last years, we would hang out at our late teen years, we would hang out at the Improvisation in Hollywood. We would schmooze and chat with many celebrities. One night, we were invited to go to Bruce Willis's home. We drove to Bel Air. We hung out for a little while, and then all of a sudden, Bruce Willis decided to skinny dip in his pool. I heard Leslie loud and clear. Oh, she was like, oh, mother guy, gubba god. We beeline for the front door, laughing and screaming the whole time. A few weeks later, we were walking past Bruce Willis's limo near the Improvisation, and we noticed the doors were open. We looked at each other and just hopped in. We thought we were good old friends. You know, after all, he invited us to his home and took off his clothing. It didn't take long for a very serious and very strong man to sternly escort us out of the limo and onto Melrose Avenue. But Leslie was always classy and intelligent, outspoken, and tell it like it is. One memorable thing she told me when I was about 10 years old was, chew with your mouth closed. And what our best friends are for, you know? We had a girls' trip for my 25th birthday to Las Vegas. We were at Treasure Island and going to see a Cirque du Soleil show. We wore glamorous floor-length dresses, and we had our hair done, and we all felt so special. As all 6 of us girls were walking through the breezeway, holding our champagne glasses with big fat strawberries on them, we overheard a little boy say loudly, "Mommy, who are those ladies?" The mother turned around and said, "Oh, those are hookers." Leslie's head flipped around, and then her body flipped around. And she started running towards her, yelling some unmentionable words. The rest of us started running after Leslie, still trying to balance our champagne glasses and straw barrels. She stood up for what was right and was going to protect our honor. We went through boyfriend drama, high school craziness, LA life. I went to New York, she went to Japan and France. She actually brought me this back in the 80s, and it was a necklace she brought from Japan. And it meant so much to me because, you know, she thought of me while she was there and brought this home. And that's the way Leslie was. She just always was there for me and thought of me. Later, Leslie received her master's degree in science and later cared and taught for so many special needs students with the patience of a saint. In 1991, I moved to the Central Coast and started a family. And then, you know, around like 2002 or so, Leslie was blessed meeting this man of her dreams, Slade. They were like Barbie and Ken. Slade was her soulmate, supporter, lover, warrior, life partner, and then came her beautiful children, Helen and Justin. I was beyond happy that Leslie and her family were given the opportunity to move to San Ynez. It would enable us to visit and see each other more often, and we entered into another fun phase of our lives. We spent so much more time visiting and spa days and celebrating birthdays and staying connected, and I was so grateful for all those moments. I imagined us in our senior years, though, just rocking in chairs and reminiscing and laughing and still swearing about the good old days. She was true, she was genuine, she was the best friend anyone would want. She posted on Facebook, tell your friends and family you love them and make it weird. And to that I say, love the guy, love the gov, you're the goo, love the guest, love the gee.
That is timing. Next speaker is Vashti, who's just arrived from Solvang.
Well, looks like. Hello. Hello. So it looks like I made it right on time. I was not supposed to be here today. I had planned on staying home. I've been home for about the last 3 weeks, mourning the loss of my friend. And fortunately, I got a phone call last night and a discussion was had, and we ascertained that it was imperative that I be here because I had the fortune of speaking to Leslie. She was one of my closest friends, and in May of this year, we had almost a 3-hour conversation. And I felt at that time, what I know now, was that she was giving me the words that she wanted to be said to her children in her absence. and she left me with the mandate to pass this on. I see my baby girl, Helen. Where's your brother? There you are. Look at that beautiful smile. So, in closing, I'm going to speak to the children. One of my favorite quotes is from Marianne Williamson, and she says that you can't know someone until you know their darkness. The second part of that quote is, you can't know love until you're able to forgive that person and their darkness. Leslie and I had a special relationship. The first time we met, she had brought Helen to one of the events for my daughter, a fundraiser. And we were over there reciting Hamilton, and Helen goes and she spits back a verse, and I was like, oh, you know Hamilton? That's wild. And Leslie fell out laughing, and I said, oh, I'm in love with your daughter, I'm in love with you already. And so we commiserated and we chatted about the play Hamilton, and I said, anyone that has a child that knows that verse and that knows of himself is going to be a friend of mine. And from that moment on, we were bosom buddies, remember? But the other part of our relationship was the fact that we both understood a certain darkness. I'm an Air Force combat vet. I was in Afghanistan, I helped set it up. And while out there, I experienced some things. So I know what it is to deal with what I call the wave. And that sometimes it feels that you're standing there and you're standing in front of the water and your feet are cemented. And you see the wave and it's coming and everything in you is screaming to get away, to move back, to get out of the danger zone. But your feet are stuck. And all you can do is stand there and you see this wave coming toward you. And I am fortunate in that because of my background, I have had professionals who have allowed me and helped me to be able to combat that wave. But the thing about Leslie is we were about 20 years apart. And Leslie grew up in a time where that was not something that was discussed. And she grew up in a time where you did not go out and seek help, and if you did, you didn't talk about it. So there was almost this dissonance within her. The fact that she operated with such transparency and warmth and truth, but also that she was a woman of her generation. And so there was this constant conflict of wanting the help, of seeking the help, but having difficulty in integrating it. And the reason why I say that is she and I had discussion after discussion. That day that we had almost a 3-hour conversation, if you looked at the pictures of Leslie in this beautiful blue dress, that's because she was interviewing at Dunn, the private school. And she was interviewing to take over the department for their special ed and as a speech pathologist. And she got the job as director of that department. But she had texted me about the interview, and I said, well, what are you wearing? So she sent me a picture of this peasant's blouse and this flowy skirt, and I said, very cute if you're going to go teach an art class, but you're not wearing that to that interview. I said, meet me at the house in an hour, I'm gonna have you, and I'm gonna get you dressed, because you're gonna walk in there with what you are bringing to the table, and I guarantee you're gonna get that job. And she said, Vashti, but what if they won't want me? I said, girl, they already want you. The question is, are you going to be able to accept what they have to offer? They're going to give you whatever you need to be there because you're Leslie. I was like, have you met you? And so she came and we got her dressed and we did her makeup and we put her on this beautiful chic dress and this necklace. And if you saw the picture, the girl looked bad. I even sent it to Slay, remember? I said, look at your wife, because supermodel that she was, it was exhibited in that picture. And she went in there, and of course, they offered her the position because, again, she was Leslie, right? And so I say that because there she was on the top, but that wave was still coming toward her because she called me later that day, and I had meetings, and I sat there for almost 3 hours and spoke to her on the phone. And she said, Vashti, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I keep trying, and I don't know if I can do it. And she said, I don't know if I'm being the mother that I need to be to my children. I said, they're getting the mother that they deserve. The fact that they have you in their lives is a benefit. And she gave this guttural sob, and she said, no one knows this, but I had to go away some years ago, and I still feel guilt about that. And I said, that's okay, so did I. And we're still here. And our children are still blessed to have us in their lives. I said, if you wanted them to know something, what would it be? And we talked for 2 hours. So the message I'm about to give is a blessing to her children. I didn't know at the time that she was going to go through with her thought, but I did know, just in case, that I wanted to have the gift that she would leave me to pass on to her children. For Justin, you put your mama through the ringer, and we loved it. She would call me and she would say, let me tell you what that little shit did today. And I said, what? And she said, I had to take away his gaming system. I said, girl, he already found it. He's probably playing it right now. I said, have you met your son? And she said, he is smart, huh? I said, yeah, he is. I said, Leslie, I said, that is the one that's sharpening you. I said, that is the one that's going to keep you on your toes, and good for him. I know they talked about your grades and everything like that, and here's what I told Leslie. I said, C's get degrees, right? Your mama wanted you to know that she tried her best, that even when she kept on you, it was out of love. And sometimes, because she's the same age as my mom had me really young, right? She didn't know how to speak to you because she came from a totally different generation. But I wanted you to know that we laughed about you many times, and we thought that you would be able to take on the world in your own kind of way. And our deepest hope, that even in those times when you gave your mom and dad a whole bunch of trouble, we still didn't want you to leave that spirit or that you have. That is a blessing to the world. The reason why you have the relationship with your grandmother that you do is because you have a gift to connect with the elders. That's something we hope that was never taken away. The blessing that I want to bestow on you is temperance. You have a whole bunch of sunshine going on. You just don't want it to blind everyone. So what you have to have with that young man is temperance. That you have to ascertain for yourself what the code of conduct will be for your life. And you stick to that. You can have the joy, you can be rambunctious, you can be precocious. We want you to keep all of that. But I want you to also operate with integrity and to be honest and be respectful in your dealings. And that is what your mother wanted you to take with you, no matter what. We love you. Helen, my baby girl, you can take on the world, and you already know that. You've already started. I'm never flying with you, I'm not going to do that, but I will be on the ground. What your mother wanted you to know and what she wanted to give to you was a gift of no expectations. Your mom put so many items on her plate because she wanted to be the best, and she wanted to be an example for the both of you. But what she didn't realize is she was already that. There was nothing else that she had to do. And so I see you flying, I see you working, I see the grades, I see everything that you do because she told me about it all the time. But what we wanted you to know is even if you decide to wake up and sleep in your bed all day with a cup of tea and a good book, you have still excelled. There is nothing that you need to do to be great. Who you are epitomizes greatness, and that's it. That's all that's expected of you, and that's all that she wanted for you. And her deepest, deepest regret was that she felt that she put expectations on you that were not yours to uphold. Both of you. She simply wanted you to have the grace to just be. Your mom, if you think about the play Hamilton, he didn't make it to the end, right? He knew when his exit was. And had he not done that when it was his time, his wife would not have stepped up to the plate in the way that she was destined to set things in place for legacies and generations to come. Because of Leslie, and because she was my ride or die, my daughter's business went to a place that it never would have without her. She was someone that if I said I wanted to do this, she said, when do you want to do it? She was someone that has impacted generations to come, not only through her children and her husband and me and my daughter Madison, but everyone in this room. So what I want the both of you to know is that your mother physically is gone, but the impact that she has had through you and the people in this room will not be forgotten. We owe you 2 promises today. 1, the promise that we will continue to support you as you go out into the world. You have a community family here. I give you my word that I will continue to support you because that's what I promised your mother. And 2, I give everyone a mandate in this room to decide how they're going to honor Leslie's legacy by choosing what to do in the community to support her and honor who she was in this lifetime. It is not enough to simply come here and share stories. The stories are great. The remembrance is great. But what I want to know is these 2 children right here require your prolonged blessings. And I expect everyone to uphold that in the name of my friend. Because that girl was no joke. Every year she would help me with Juneteenth, and she would be over the food. And I would have people come to me and they'd say, Miss Vashti, the lady over there, she won't let us do this, or she won't let us do that. I said, well, what lady? They said, a blonde lady with, I said, well, you on your own. I don't know what to tell you about that. I said, have you met her? Like, if she said no, what do you think I'm gonna do? And they will go slinking off. I say, you better go over there, you better be respectful, you better be nice, good luck. Because she didn't play when it came to what she was set out to do in the world. And so in that spirit, when I got the call last night, I saw her sitting across from me in my living room. And to me, I heard her say, you're gonna go ahead and go pick out your dress and get ready because you're gonna be there tomorrow. Almost 3 hours we drove here. I had to pull over because I couldn't stop crying. Not because I couldn't stop crying because there's a person in my life who operated with integrity, with transparency, with love, and with joy. And that's gone. But what she also left in my life was a mandate for me to live. Many times I have lived with a spirit of fear because of my past and because of that wave. And one thing I know Leslie wants us all to do is to make the decision that that no longer will be a factor in our lives, and that we will honor her by continuing with her mission of community service and upholding her children. You'll all be getting slips of paper. I ask you for 2 things. On one slip of paper, I ask you to write your commitment down. That is for you to keep as a reminder of what you promised. And on the other, I ask for you to copy that and leave it at the front table where we will collect it. I'm then going to put that on a collage for her children so they are reminded of what promises and what impact their mother will have out in the world. I leave you all with this. This is one of my favorite quotes by Teddy Roosevelt. And I read it in honor of Leslie. It says, "It is not the critic who counts, nor the woman, nor the person who points out how the strong woman stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who actually strives to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." I want her children to know this. The question has been posed as to why did she do this and why did she leave so early? But I'm going to tell you a secret that she told me that day. She stayed many years past her time. And she did it because she wanted to ensure that she set you guys off to a certain point. That wave had almost overcame her many times before. But every time she thought about her family, her partner, her children, it kept her with a certain amount of strength to withstand. It is not that it overtook her, it's the fact that she stayed longer than she was destined to. And she did that out of love for you too. I want you to know that when it's all said and done, she loved you more than anything else in this world. And we will continue to love and support you as she would have wanted. Thank you.
I hope all of you have the programs. Would you open to the second page from the end? We're going to bring this formal part to a close. I'd like you to join me in reading these words as if you wrote them yourself. The ancient prayer for the dead is on the second page on the left side. Together we read, Compassionate One, remember now the precious, precious soul of Leslie Pruitt, who returned to the realm from which she had originally come to spend time with us in her life. May Leslie's soul be intertwined with your great spirit, the source of all life, and in the warmth and the serenity of your wings. May her spirit be joined with the spirit of her ancestors, with her sister Karen, and with the spirits of other great men and women who now dwell in the bliss of paradise. Source of all blessing are you, breath of all life, who created our Leslie, graced us with the gift of your presence in our lives. We thank you, creator of life and death, for the time we had with our beloved Leslie. Ask you to comfort us now for our sense of loss in our lives, for our somber encounter with our own mortality in this moment. Renew in us the faith that in your unending love, death is but a journey of the spirit from the finite realm of physical being to the infinite realm of your eternal embrace. For the soul of the human is a spark of the divine. Wellspring of blessing are you, breath of all life, who is with us in life and in death. Great power of compassion, dwelling in the realms of the high, bring forth true rest beneath the wings of your presence to the spirit of Leslie. You, who creates harmony in the realm of the high, also bring to us harmony and peace of mind, consolation, strength of nurturing memory, upon us, upon all who walk, swim, and fly across the earth. We're going to close our formal part of this celebration of life, and you're going to help me sing to Leslie. You have three words. We remember you. And in the calls to action that you've heard throughout the dear friends that came up, we start by singing to Leslie, we remember you, and each of you will do that in your own way. The rising of the sun in its going down, we remember you. In the blowing of the wind, in the chill of winter, we remember you. In the opening of the buds, in the rebirth of spring, we remember you. In the blueness of the sky, in the warmth of summer, we remember you. In the rustling of the leaves, in the beauty of autumn, We remember you in the beginning of the year, and when it ends, we remember you. And when we are weary, in need of strength, we remember you. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember you. Yes, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember you. And when we have achievements based on yours, we remember you. So long as we live, then you too shall live, for you are now a part of us, as we remember you, as we remember you, as we remember you.
This is going to be real quick. I just want to thank everyone for coming. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Marley? George? You want to start the movement? Slate's prepared a wonderful slideshow so that a little bit of Leslie's light will be shining throughout the rest of the time. Once again, thanks for coming. Spend some time together, share stories, hugs, embraces, and love.
Thank you, Cantor Marc. Thank you for pulling this together for us today. It's a difficult afternoon, but we're here to celebrate Leslie, and we're going to cry and laugh and enjoy some good times this afternoon. We have some refreshments for you. Please serve yourself a plate, and the mic will be open. We're going to have a slideshow running, and you can feel free at any point in time to come and share stories with Leslie with us this afternoon as well. And Vashti has an activity for us. We're going to have the paper ready for you to write down your commitments. So we're not letting you go without making that happen today. So thank you once again, Mark. And please, you can head to the buffet table. We'll serve you some food and some refreshments, and we'll continue the program. Thank you.